Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is taking the gaming world by storm. This is a runaway success story that we don't often see in this gaming space, because this is the first game from studio Sandfall Interactive, a small team made up of people who haven't really shipped a game before, and then it was released to critical and commercial success, having sold over 2 million copies in 12 days. This is the studio's first game, and that is just an impressive sales figure. I just recently finished the main story of this game. I rolled the credits. It took me about 22 hours to beat, and let me tell you, it was a fantastic time. And I'm not someone who usually goes for those kinds of turn-based RPGs. Like, I've played them before. I like Paper Mario. I like those South Park games, but it's not a genre I'm heavily invested in. But you know, after seeing how well this game has been received, I had to play the game for myself, so I installed it on Game Pass, and like many people, I became instantly hooked after that prologue. The prologue, which introduces this tragic world in a city called Lumiere, where the planet faced a cataclysmic event 67 years ago called the Fracture, which it basically broke the world apart, and it spawned this godlike creature called the Paintress, which sits on a monolith with a number on it. Every time that number goes down, anyone above that age just mysteriously vanishes in an event called the Gamage. That's such an interesting story already on its own, but there's so much more that happens in that prologue that I'm not going to spoil here in case you haven't played it yet. I imagine most of you already have if you're watching an Expedition 33 video, because it's just so good. This game is quite literally amazing. I have hardly any problems with it. The turn-based combat with real-time dodging and parrying is absolutely engaging and very stressful at times, and that story is just so great to follow. Like, that's what really hooked me into this game in the first place, was its story, and I imagine that's the case for many other people. At the same time, this isn't really my review of Expedition 33. If I were to give it a score, I'd give it a 9 out of 10, but I don't really want to talk too much about the game itself, but rather the story behind it, because I feel like it's much more impactful in this day and age of gaming, where AAA studios are playing it safe more often than not, and they don't take many creative risks. There's a really good article from BBC detailing how this game started, how development came to be. It's a really good article, a very brief read, but I'm just going to go over and summarize some things in it. Namely, the studio founder Guillaume Broche, who basically came up with this idea in 2020 during the height of the COVID pandemic, when he was bored at his job working at the French gaming giant Ubisoft. This feels really appropriate because as much as I like Ubisoft games, most recently Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, they are more often than not a safe company. We could expect Far Cry and Assassin's Creed from them quite often. But going back to Expedition 33, the creator wanted to make a game that was inspired by his childhood games, those being Japanese RPGs like Final Fantasy. And you know, you can definitely feel that in this game. Even though it's made by a French studio, this is a JRPG to its very core. Not even just from the combat system or the larger-than-life story. There's also cute little characters in there that really stand out. A very common theme in JRPGs, and that's very much what Expedition 33 is through and through. Basically, he would not be able to pitch something like this to Ubisoft or any other big studio, because there's just something about a turn-based RPG that's somewhat niche if you're not already a big franchise like Persona or Pokemon. Not many big studios were going to want to take a chance on a new IP with that kind of style to it. So what was he going to do? He was going to start looking for work. He was going to go recruit a team, build a team together to make this vision of his a reality. And he just scrounged the internet looking for talent. One person of which was Jennifer Svedberg Yen, who came across a Reddit post from Guillaume asking for voice actors to record something for free for a demo. She basically saw that and said, I've never done anything like that before. I might as well just shoot my shot and try something new. Little did she know how that one little choice made a huge difference and most likely changed her life for the better. So she basically sent in her voice demo and was cast as one of the main characters in the game, but something happened and she ended up switching roles to lead writer. That's just quite a different change if you ask me, but it turned out to be a great one because, like I said, the story in this game is quite literally phenomenal. It engages you right from the get-go, and it keeps you invested on your toes, wondering what's going to happen next. How are they going to get out of this situation? How are they going to save the world? And then it leads to just complete insanity. Like, not bad insanity, but good luck trying to predict what happens in this story. That's all I'm going to say. So then Guillaume left Ubisoft to form Sandfall Interactive Interactive, his development company, and he secured funding from publisher Clair Interactive, and then full steam ahead, development on Clair Obscur Expedition 33 went forward, and the talent does not stop there. Right now, I've been playing music from the game. It sounds amazing, doesn't it? Surely they got some award-winning film or game composer to work on it, right? No. They found this dude on SoundCloud. Lorian Testard is the composer, and this is his first ever video game. He would go on SoundCloud weekly and create tracks that were inspired by his favorite video games. Guillaume reached out to him, and they collaborated on the soundtrack for this game, and just this, oh my god, I am just so amazed, because this is kind of like a dream scenario for creatives. It really just goes to show how many talented people are out there. People that might never get recognized unless they're in the right place at the right time. And the development of Expedition 33 proves this. We got a first-time lead writer of a video game, first-time composer of a video game, along with many other talent at this small studio who, as I understand it, haven't really shipped a game before. They were more like junior developers at their respective studios, and then the game releases, and then the most dream-come-true scenario happens where it sells so well in 2 weeks, it becomes the highest-rated game on Metacritic of that year, and the president of France even acknowledges just how great it is, because again, this is just a small French studio, and then it comes out and makes a big splash across the world. Of course, the president is going to recognize that. So yeah, I could have got on camera to explain why Expedition 33 is an amazing game on its own, but there are tons of reviews out there for this game. I didn't really want to talk about that too much, because what I found equally as fascinating as the game itself was the story of how it was made. I'll be honest, when I was reading this BBC article talking about these people, these first-timers on a video game, I got a little emotional inside, because honestly, a lot of us creators out here, we put our stuff out on the internet to make something of it, you know? We hope to receive like a life-changing email or a comment from somebody who noticed our work, our video, our song, our piece of art, all for some bigger opportunity somewhere at a major studio or even a small studio with a big dream. And this game is like the living embodiment of that. Again, the studio founder Guillaume Broche, he had an eye for talent. He really did. When he was looking out for people to work on this game, he found somebody that was originally a voice actor, and then she became a lead writer. He found a SoundCloud composer, and then he made some of the most beautiful tracks I've ever heard in a video game. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is so vastly important. It is way too important to ignore, and I'm glad nobody is ignoring it. Let me remind you that this game released the same week as Oblivion Remastered Shadow dropped. There was a chance Oblivion could have easily overshadowed Expedition 33. But it didn't. If anything, Oblivion probably helped Expedition 33 get more exposure because of just the overall appreciation of RPGs that week. But yes, Expedition 33 is an absolute quality game that can be played on Game Pass right now, or you can buy it for a mere $50. That is so important right now, especially in this day and age where Nintendo's charging $80 for Mario Kart, Grand Theft Auto 6 is suggested to be retailing at $100, and this should be a reminder that just because a game is more expensive doesn't automatically mean it's going to be a life-changing game. Expedition 33 is definitely that, and it is not anywhere near the full retail price of $70. A lot of people are suggesting that Expedition 33 is a message sender to these big AAA studios, saying that they should be taking chances on unique and original ideas, something that I've been saying for years as well, especially in this day and age where video games take so long to make and they are obscenely expensive. So much so to the point where studios don't want to take chances on original ideas, at least not as much as they used to. And I'm not trying to make this an anti-AAA gaming video. I still enjoy AAA games. I'm excited for Doom: The Dark Ages coming out soon. That's very much AAA. But I definitely hope that these big studios are taking notice of Expedition 33's success, and they start to realize that they can take creative risks as long as they just trust the vision of these developers and not shareholders that have a bottom line in mind. Expedition 33 is so good, in fact, that I fully expect it to win Game of the Year at this year's Game Awards. As big of a Metroid fan as I am, and that pains me to say it, right? But Expedition 33 just represents the creativity of game developers and, you know, the significance of just going back in time a bit and realizing what made RPGs so great in the first place and bringing back some of that turn-based action. People love it. This game is a runaway success, and it will probably continue to be. People will still be checking it out on Game Pass for months to come, and they'll even buy it because it's $50. That's so inexpensive, and I fully expect this game will get a Switch 2 port. If this game does come to Switch 2, I will buy it there just to support the developers. I already played the game on Game Pass, but the best way to support these developers is to buy the game itself. So that's really all I have to say about Clair Obscur Expedition 33. It is such an inspiring game. We definitely need more games like it in this space. Original, bold, daring to be different. This game is similar in a lot of ways to JRPGs, but it's also different in a lot of ways, and it's something that we should be embracing in the community, and especially it's something that big studios need to take notice of. I'm sure they already are. Maybe I'm wrong and they're not. They're just going to make another live service game, even though they fail time and time again. I'm just so bitter about that. But what do you think of Clair Obscur Expedition 33? Let me know in the comments down below. And I want to especially thank my beautiful YouTube members right here. If you want early access to some of my uploads, then you can become a Ferris Wheel member by clicking that join button. But until next time, everyone, bye-bye.